it's Serena Jade here. Ooh, still that generic opening. I just went to a wedding and I'm like, I put on makeup, so we might as well, you know, kill two birds with one stone. Am I right? I decided, since this is 2019, this year will be my 10th, yes, you heard it, my decade of cosplaying and being in the convention world. How can one person do this for 10 years? It's an act of love, I tell you. Sometimes, some conventions you just like want to give up and you're like, I'm done, we're not doing this anymore, never again. I usually say that about particular situations in which I get myself caught up in, but I never not want to go to a convention. Conventions are what make me feel at home, where I feel like I can be truly myself besides my home. So my grandfather had passed in October of 2008, and I was very much depressed for a very long time after that. So my grandfather and I, being very close, he didn't tell anyone in the family that he had left all of his life insurance to me. And so it was kind of a surprise when the information showed up and they're like, oh yeah, here is 3 life insurance policies. And you know, me being the mature 19-year-old that I was, decided to go to an anime convention for my 19th birthday. It was a lot of fun. I had been offered to be taken to a convention in Arizona called Arizona, which isn't around anymore. It was a poorly run convention from what I'm told, and I'm kind of happy that I skipped out on it and didn't make that my first convention. And so I didn't go to Arizona because I was socially awkward and just incredibly scared. I lived in a very small town for most of my life. You know, if you could find Hickville, USA and point to it on a map, that was pretty much where I felt I lived. I found cosplay websites when I was about 17 years old. I didn't know cosplay was an actual thing until I got down to the big cities. The big city in Arizona, you know, in like Scottsdale or Snobsdale. And so my friends were like, hey, do you want to go to Arizona? And I was thinking about it until my mom's like, you do realize that's like, I think it was over Easter weekend or close to that. And then I found out that my friends were going to be going to Anime Expo 09. And I decided to tag along with that. I was like, yes, that sounds like so much fun. Let's do it. I decided to go on to eBay. I purchased my first cosplay off of eBay for $95. And mind you, this is back before you youngsters. A decade ago, there was a lot of bad ones out there. It's not like today where you order something and it actually looks really good. And there was only like 2 different colors of wigs and not like Arda or Epic Cosplay. Ugh. I'm talking about a time when this was super underground, like a subculture. It was just, no one knew about it. And when you explained it to people, they're like, oh my God, you actually like do that? That sounds so horrible. How could you do something like that? As if. No, somebody actually said that to me one time. Like, even at Joann's, I had to explain what cosplay was to the person cutting my stuff. So I decided to do Anime Expo 09, bought my costume. It was about $100 for just the costume itself. And then I bought a wig, which was, I think, another $25. And so the costume got through customs pretty quickly because it was China. When I got it, it didn't fit. So the top part looked okay, but the bottom part, like the sock, because, oh, I didn't even tell you what my first costume was, did I? My first costume was Sakura Haruno from Naruto. Why did we just develop that weird accent? I don't understand why I always have these weird accents. The show must go on. So I ordered that, I got my Sakura cosplay. It didn't really fit, and I don't know why it didn't fit because I measured myself correctly. And this is why I stopped buying my costumes from eBay and from overseas and started like actually learning how to sew and got to this point where I have a behemoth of a room. So I don't know why it didn't fit, but whatever, the show must go on. I decided to safety pin it because, my first cosplay, I didn't care. I was just so excited. The wig made me terrified because it didn't show up when it was supposed to. And the days kept passing. And it was the day of me leaving. So I'm sitting there like thinking, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And at one point I decided to get in that some spray in your hair coloring, even though I had, you see this color right here? Yeah. My hair wasn't bleached. So I decided that I was going to try and spray and color into my hair if my wig did not come, because there was no way I was going to cosplay without a wig, and that is how it has stayed since I was small. If I do not have a wig, then I will not cosplay. If I do have a wig, then I will cosplay. So as I'm like freaking out and finishing up, making sure I got everything and like finishing my packing, I get my wig and I'm like, oh my god, yes, thank the Lord, thank the heavens, thank the cosplay gods that we all now pray to. So we decided to leave at night to beat traffic because it's much easier to drive, into LA at 9 p.m. than it is like any other time. It was super fast. So I get dropped off at my friend's and, we get our photos taken because we're all excited. We're all 19. It was right after our senior year. So we had just graduated. It was my first time being out of state without my family. I was so nervous and just anxious, but in a good way. Like, it's a new experience. I'd never done anything like this. I'd never been to an anime convention. I was going to be around people who understood what I was talking about, because my family, after I moved away from my grandma, I didn't really have anyone who was super nerdy to talk about with, because my mom was of the opinion of that's stupid. So just excited to be in that immersive nature, and now I never leave it, because it's 10 years. It's been 10 years. So we leave, and we were blasting Rammstein and Andrew WK, which, by the way, I love Andrew WK. If you haven't checked him out, his music sounds so happy, but there's one song that says "Get Ready to Die." It's so fun to listen to because you don't realize what he's saying until you actually read the lyrics. But even then, behind his lyrics, he always has this very positive note. So we get to our hotel, we check in. So we wound up at our hotel about 7 a.m. in the morning. We have time to kill, So I decide that we should go running around downtown LA. I think this is where I get my love of downtown places. I love going to downtown areas because I think they're eclectic. They have so much history behind it most of the time. You don't know what you're gonna find. So we're running around. We finally get to our hotel room. I think we go and pick up our badges. This is 10 years ago, so I don't remember entirely every event that we did. I do remember 3 main points. The first one was when I met my first Naruto and Sasuke that were they really blew my mind away, and it was just a lot of fun talking to them. They had the contacts and everything. It was so cool. And then I found another Sasuke and Akarin, and I was hanging out, talking with them and getting to know them. And all of a sudden I hear, "The springtime of my youth! Sakura-chan!" And I turn around and it's a bushy brow. I'm like, oh no, it's a Rock Lee. I still hate Rock Lee. He has his uses now, but I still hate him. And so we got some of the coolest and most awkward photos ever. I wish I still had them. I don't. It makes me sad because they were pretty phenomenal. He had construction paper glued to his eyes, and he had like the bowl cut and everything. One of the other memories I have is of me going into the vendor hall, buying an Akatsuki cloak that was way too large for me. So I bought that. What else? I remember one guy coming up to me and telling me that I wasn't a good enough Sakura because I didn't have a wide forehead. And I was just like, thank you. Why are you telling me this? And then the other point is the Carmeldansen line. Oh, it was so much fun. It was like this gigantic conga line that just kept gaining people. It kept growing and growing and growing as we went around the convention center. Now, if you sit there and you think, what is Carmeldansen? I don't know what that is. I will link a video to it down below. And if you do not watch it, we cannot be friends. Because I cannot be friends with people who do not know what Carmeldansen is. I've only done one other anime expo since then. I don't like anime expo. It's too big, in my opinion. I do think they need to cap it just because of how big it is now. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back, not unless I have like a booth to hide behind. Because hiding behind a booth is really nice, especially when you start, especially when I start getting overwhelmed. I can just be like, I'm gonna go back to my vendor booth. So yeah, that was my first convention ever, and it just sparked a love that has continued. If you look behind me, you can see the entire wall of all my badges from the start to current. I think I'm missing one or two badges from over the years, just between my ex divvying them up and keeping one or two and just moving or losing them at cons, because that will happen. Well, no, I actually have never lost a badge at a convention. It just happens afterwards. So yeah, until next time, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far.